Baby, I need you to stop for a second. Just stop whatever you're doing. Put everything else aside, because what I'm about to tell you, I've been holding inside for a long time, and I don't want to rush through it. I want you to really hear this. I want every single word to land right where it's supposed to, straight into your heart, because you deserve that. You deserve someone who actually takes the time to see you. And I see you. I really truly see you. And what I see, I don't think you even fully understand yet. You walk through your day like it's just another ordinary day. You wake up, you look in the mirror for a few seconds. Maybe you sigh a little. Maybe you pick apart something on your face or your body that you think is wrong or not enough. And then you move on. You pour your energy into everyone else. You check on the people you love. You carry things quietly. You smile even when something inside you is tired. And somewhere between all of that, you forgot to look at yourself the way I look at you. And that breaks my heart a little. Because if you could see what I see, even for one moment, everything would change. There's something about you that I can't explain with just one word. It's not just the way you look. Though God, the way you look. Don't even get me started. It's deeper than that. It's the energy you carry. It's the softness in the way you love people. It's the way you laugh when something really catches you off guard, and you forget to be self-conscious about it. That laugh, that real, unfiltered laugh, is one of the most beautiful things in this entire world. And I wonder if anyone has ever told you that. I wonder if anyone has ever looked you in the eyes and said, that laugh, right there, that is everything. I think about all the versions of you that no one else gets to see. The version of you at 2 in the morning, when you can't sleep and your thoughts are too loud. The version of you when you're driving alone, and a song comes on that hits a little too close to home, and your eyes get that faraway look. The version of you when you're genuinely happy about something small, a good cup of something warm, a moment of quiet, a text from someone you love, and your whole face just opens up, like the sun coming through a window. I wish you knew how rare that is. I wish you understood that. Most people go their whole lives never making anyone feel the way you make people feel just by being present. And here's the thing, I really need you to understand. The thing I almost don't have the words for. You have been through things. I don't know all of them, and you don't have to tell me, but I can feel it. There's a quiet strength in you that doesn't come from nowhere. That kind of depth. That kind of gentleness mixed with resilience that only comes from someone who has felt real pain and chose every single time to remain soft anyway. Do you understand how powerful that is? Do you understand how many people crack under the weight of what you've carried and become hard, closed off, bitter? But not you. You kept your heart open. You kept loving. You kept showing up. And that right there is the most beautiful thing about you. I want to tell you something I've never quite said out loud before. When I imagine the kind of woman who truly moves me, not just on the surface, but all the way down to somewhere quiet and deep, I imagine someone exactly like you, not perfect in the way magazines define perfect. Perfect in the way that feels real. Perfect in the way that has scars and stories. Perfect in the way that wakes up some mornings feeling unsure and still finds the courage to keep going. That's you. That has always been you. And I don't think you know it yet. And that almost undoes me. There are nights when I think about all the people who have looked at you and not seen you, really seen you. The ones who were too distracted, too shallow, too caught up in their own reflection to recognize what was right in front of them. And I feel this ache for every time someone made you feel like you weren't enough. For every moment someone's careless words planted a seed of doubt in your mind that grew into something you now believe about yourself. I want to pull every single one of those seeds out, root by root. I want to replace every lie you've been told with the truth. I see so clearly that you are more than enough. You have always been more than enough. You were never the problem. Can I tell you what I notice? Because I notice everything. I notice the way you carry yourself when you think no one is paying attention. There's this quiet elegance to it, this natural grace that you probably don't even realize is there. I notice the way you care, fully, deeply, sometimes too much for your own good, and how that's not a weakness even though people have tried to convince you it is. I notice the little things you do for others that no one thanks you for, the ways you hold space for people who never hold it back for you. I notice your sensitivity and how it gets mistaken for fragility by people who don't understand that to feel things deeply is actually the greatest kind of strength. And I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. When was the last time someone looked at you, just you, exactly as you are right now, not a future version, not a fixed version, not a version that's lost weight, or gotten it together, or figured everything out, just you right now, and told you that you were wonderful, because you are. You are genuinely, unexplainably, completely wonderful. And if no one has said it to you recently, then let this be the moment. Let this be the voice that finds you in whatever quiet or loud place you're in right now, and says, I see you, I think you're wonderful. I'm so glad you exist. There is something I've been wanting to confess, and it feels a little scary to say it because it's honest, and honesty always feels a little vulnerable. The truth is, women like you change people, you don't even realize it. But you do. You change the rooms you walk into, you change the conversations you're part of. You leave something behind in people, a feeling, a warmth, a thought they carry with them long after you've gone. That's not nothing, that's not small, that's a kind of magic that most people spend their whole lives looking for and never find. And you have it. You were born with it. It lives in your voice and your eyes and the way you make people feel like they matter. I think about the relationship you want, the one you've maybe stopped letting yourself fully dream about because hoping has cost you too much before. And I want to say something careful here, something I mean with everything I have. You are not too much. You are not too emotional, too sensitive, too needy, too intense. You are not too broken, too complicated, too difficult to love. Everything that someone once framed as a flaw, it was never a flaw. It was just more of you than they had the capacity to hold. And that was their limitation. Never yours, never ever yours. You deserve a love that doesn't make you feel like you have to shrink. A love where you don't lie awake at night, reading into silences or wondering where you stand. A love that feels safe, the way a home feels safe. Not perfect, but real and warm and yours. And I believe with everything in me that you are worthy of exactly that. Not someday, not after you've fixed some imaginary broken part of yourself, right now, exactly as you are. With all your history and all your tenderness and all the wild, beautiful complexity of who you are. I want you to do something for me. The next time you look in the mirror, I want you to try, even if it feels strange, even if it makes you uncomfortable. I want you to try to look at yourself the way someone who truly loves you would look at you. Not critical, not scanning for flaws, just looking at the face that has cried real tears and laughed real laughs and carried real weight. At the eyes that have seen hard things and still managed to find beauty. At the person who has been knocked down and gotten back up more times than anyone fully knows. Look at that person and understand that is someone remarkable. That is someone worth loving. That is you. Because the world is full of beautiful things. Sunsets that make people pull over their cars just to stare. Songs that reduce entire auditoriums to silence. Moments so tender and perfect they feel almost impossible. And you belong in that list. You are one of those things. One of those rare, irreplaceable things that makes the world softer and richer and more worth being in. I don't know exactly where you are right now. As you hear this, I don't know what kind of day you've had, or what's sitting heavy on your heart, or what you looked like this morning when you first woke up. But none of that changes what I know. What I know is that you are someone who matters. Someone who loves deeply, and feels fully, and tries even when trying is exhausting. Someone who has a kind of beauty that doesn't wash off or fade or depend on lighting. The kind that lives in who you are, in how you move through the world, in what you leave behind in people. And I needed you to know that. I needed to find a way to reach through whatever distance is between us and say it directly to you, not to a version of you that you think you should be, not to a future you, to you. Right now, this version, this exact, imperfect, extraordinary, irreplaceable version of you. I have so much more I want to say to you, so much more. I want you to feel and understand about yourself, and I'm not done. I want to tell you about the specific way your strength shows up even when you feel weak. I want to tell you about all the things I imagine when I think about you. I want to tell you about the kind of love you make me believe in, the kind that's patient and deep and doesn't need to perform or prove itself. I want to tell you about what it's like to think of someone and feel everything. Go quiet inside, that rare and peaceful silence that only comes when someone feels exactly right. And you are exactly that for me. You are that quiet. You are that peace. Do you have any idea what it means to think of someone and feel everything settle, like the whole noise of the world just softens and goes still? That's what you do. That's what happens when you cross my mind, and you cross my mind more than you know. I want to talk about your strength for a moment, because I don't think you see it the way it actually is. I think when you look back at the hard seasons of your life, you see the moments you cried. You see the nights you didn't sleep. You see the times you broke down in the shower, or in your car, or quietly in a room full of people who had no idea. And you probably look at those moments and think that they mean something was wrong with you, that they were evidence of weakness. But I look at those same moments and I see something completely different. I see someone who was carrying something incredibly heavy and still chose to carry it. I see someone who could have given up and didn't. I see someone who broke open, not apart. And there is a difference, a profound, enormous difference between those two things. Breaking apart means you scattered. Breaking open means you made room. Room for more understanding, more compassion, more depth. Every hard thing you have ever been through didn't diminish you. It expanded you. It made you the kind of person who can sit with someone else in their pain and not flinch, not try to fix it too quickly, not look for the exit. You can just be there. You can hold space with a kind of steadiness that most people never develop, because most people never had to go deep enough to find it. But you did. You went deep. And what you found down there, that was not weakness. That was gold. I think about the relationships that have hurt you. And I know there have been some, because someone with the kind of heart you have almost always has chapters that ended in pain. People who didn't know how to receive what you were offering. People who took your love and treated it carelessly, like it was ordinary, like there would always be more of it waiting, no matter how little they gave back. And I think about how you kept loving anyway. Maybe not those same people, but you kept your capacity for love intact. You didn't seal it off. You didn't put walls around it so high that no one could ever reach you again. You stayed open. You stayed willing. And that is one of the bravest things a human heart can do. Because closing off is easy. After enough disappointments, after enough times of hoping and being let down, The easiest thing in the world is to decide that you're done. To decide that softness is dangerous, and love is a risk you're no longer willing to take to become something harder, something more defended, and I would understand it completely. If you had done that, no one would blame you, but you didn't. And I need you to understand what that says about you. Not about the people who hurt you, not about the circumstances, but about you specifically. It says that somewhere inside you, there is a belief, maybe quiet, maybe almost buried, but still alive. A belief that love is worth it, that people are worth it, that you are worth it. Hold on to that belief. Please protect it like it's precious, because it is. I want to tell you about something I imagine sometimes. I imagine what it would be like to spend an ordinary day with you. Not something extraordinary, no grand gestures, no special occasion, just an ordinary Tuesday, waking up slowly, that slow, soft morning light coming through the curtains. The kind of morning where there's no rush, where you can just exist for a little while without the weight of everything you have to do. I imagine what your voice sounds like in the morning, still a little quiet, a little unhurried. I imagine making something warm to drink, and just sitting close to you, not needing to fill the silence with anything, because the silence with you would feel full rather than empty. It would feel like rest. It would feel like home. And I imagine the conversation that would start slowly and then go deep, the way real conversations do when you're with someone who actually thinks and feels. You would say something that surprises me. You do that even in my imagination. You say things that make me stop and look at you a little differently, that make me think about something I thought I already understood and realize I only understood the surface of it. You have that effect. You make people think, you make people feel like the world is more layered and interesting than they realized, just by being honest about how you see it. And then I imagine laughing with you. Not polite laughing, not the kind you do when you're trying to make someone feel good about their joke. The real kind. The kind that sneaks up on you. The kind that makes your eyes water a little and your whole body get involved. I imagine what it would feel like to be the reason for that laugh. To say the right, wrong thing at exactly the right moment and watch your face go from composed to completely undone with laughter. I think that would be one of the best feelings in the world. I genuinely believe that, because here's what I know about you. You don't give that away easily. The real laugh, the real you. The unguarded version that doesn't perform or manage how she's perceived. You reserve that. You protect it. And rightfully so. Not everyone deserves access to the real you. Not everyone has earned the right to see you without your armor. And so when someone does get to see it, when you decide slowly, carefully, that someone is safe enough for you to let your guard down, that is a gift. That is an extraordinary gift, and whoever receives it should know exactly what they're holding. I want to talk about your mind for a moment, because I feel like people don't appreciate it enough. There is something about the way you think that is genuinely fascinating to me. You don't just accept things at face value. You feel them, you turn them over, you examine them from different angles, you sit with them until you understand not just what happened, but why it happened and what it means, and how it connects to everything else. That kind of thinking, that depth, is rarer than you know. Most people live entirely on the surface. They react, they move on, they don't ask the deeper questions. But you do, you always have. And it means that when you love something or someone, you love it fully, completely, with total understanding of what you're loving. You don't fall in love with ideas. You fall in love with reality. And that makes your love one of the most real things there is. And your heart, I keep coming back to your heart, because I can't help it. Your heart is the thing about you that I find myself most in awe of. Not because it's perfect, not because it never gets things wrong. Hearts aren't supposed to be perfect, they're supposed to be real. But because of the way it keeps choosing people, the way it keeps finding reasons to trust even after trust has been broken, the way it holds onto the good memories even when the ending was painful, because you understand that both things can be true, that something hurt you and was still in some way beautiful. That kind of complexity, that refusal to see everything in black and white, that is wisdom, real wisdom, the kind that can't be taught, only lived. I want to say something about the way you love the people in your life, because I've noticed it. The way you remember the small things, the things someone mentioned once in passing, the details that most people let float by without catching. You catch them, you file them away, and then you bring them back at exactly the right moment, and the person feels seen in a way they can't quite explain. You do that for people without even thinking about it, without expecting anything in return. You do it because it's just who you are. Because making people feel seen is not a strategy for you. It's an instinct. It's as natural as breathing. Do you know how rare that is? Do you understand that most people go their entire lives feeling fundamentally unseen, fundamentally unknown, and then they encounter someone like you, and suddenly they feel visible for the first time? You are someone who gives people that experience. You are someone who changes what people believe is possible in terms of being known and accepted and loved. And you do it casually. You do it on an ordinary Tuesday without even trying. I think about the future and I think about you in it, and something in me settles. Not in a desperate way, not in a way that needs something from you, just in a quiet, certain way. Like when you've been looking for something for a long time, and you finally find it, and there's that moment of just exhaling, just letting the search go, because there it is. There you are. I want you to promise me something. I know that's a strange thing to ask, but I mean it genuinely. I want you to promise me that you will start to treat yourself the way you treat the people you love, with patience, with generosity, with the willingness to see the best and believe in it, even when the worst is also visible. You extend that grace to everyone around you so naturally, so instinctively. But when it comes to yourself, I know how critical that voice inside you can be. I know how high you hold yourself to standards that you would never apply to someone you care about. And I want that to change. I want you to become one of the people you love, because you deserve every single thing you so freely give to others. You deserve softness. You deserve patience. You deserve someone sitting with you in your uncertainty and not needing you to have all the answers, and not making you feel like your doubts or your fears or your complicated feelings are inconveniences. You deserve someone who looks at the full picture of who you are, every shadow and every light, and says yes, without hesitation, yes. And here's what I want you to hold on to today and tomorrow, and on all the days when you forget it and need to find your way back to it. You are not waiting to become someone worth loving. You already are. You have always been. The love you are looking for, the real kind, the kind that sees you and stays, the kind that feels like relief, it is not something you have to earn or build yourself into deserving. It is something that is already yours by right. By the simple, profound right of being exactly who you are. I have been talking to you for a while now, and I feel like I've barely said a fraction of what I actually feel. Like every sentence I finish opens up into 10 more that I haven't said yet. And maybe that's the point. Maybe you are someone who inspires that, an endless wanting to say more, to get closer to the truth of what you mean, to find the exact right words for something that almost doesn't have words. What I know is this. There is something about you, something specific and unrepeatable, and entirely yours, that the world would be genuinely lesser without. Not just your loved ones, not just the people who know your name, the world, because the kind of love and light you carry doesn't stay contained. It moves. It travels through the people you touch, and into the people they touch, and out into places you will never even know about. You are affecting things you can't see. You are mattering in ways no one has told you. And I just need you to know that. I need you to carry that with you. There is still so much more I want to tell you, and I need you to stay with me. Because what I'm about to say, this next part, this is the part that I think you need to hear the most. This is the part that I've been building toward, the part that gets to the very center of everything. So please don't go anywhere. Please stay right here with me for just a little while longer. I want to talk about the version of you that you hide. Not the version you show the world, not the polished, capable, holding it together version that moves through daily life and gets things done and smiles when it's expected. I want to talk about the version that comes out in the quiet. The one that surfaces at night, when everything has finally gone still, and there's nothing left to distract you from your own thoughts. The version of you that asks questions like, am I really loved? Do I really matter? Is all of this going somewhere? Or am I just moving? I want to talk to her. Because I think she's been waiting for someone to acknowledge her for a very long time. She doesn't come out often. You've gotten good at keeping her tucked away, at filling the silence before she gets a chance to speak, at staying busy enough that the deep questions never get the space to fully form. And I understand why. Because those questions are heavy. Because sitting with uncertainty about whether you are truly, deeply loved is one of the most uncomfortable things a person can do. It's easier to keep moving. It's easier to stay on the surface. But that part of you, the one who lies awake and wonders, she deserves to be spoken to directly. She deserves an answer, and I want to be the one to give it to her. Yes, you are loved. Not in a general, abstract, everyone is loved kind of way, specifically, particularly. The exact shape of you, the doubts and the dreams and the contradictions and the quiet and the fire, all of it is something worth loving. Someone looking at the full picture of who you are, all of it visible, nothing hidden, would not run. They would stay. They would pull closer. Because what you are, when you're fully seen, is not too much or too little or the wrong thing. What you are, when you're fully seen, is extraordinary. And I want to address something that I think lives somewhere in you, a belief that maybe you haven't fully named yet, but that influences everything. The belief that somehow the love you've received so far, or the way it's ended, or the ways it's fallen short, says something about your worth. That the evidence of your life, the relationships that didn't last, the people who left, the love that wasn't enough, is proof of something. Proof that maybe you are, in some way that you can't quite identify, not quite right for the kind of love you actually want. I need you to hear me very carefully right now. That belief is a lie. It is one of the oldest and most convincing lies a heart can tell itself, and it has absolutely no basis in the truth of who you are. People leave for their own reasons. People love imperfectly because they are imperfect. Relationships end not because you weren't enough, but because the fit wasn't right. The timing wasn't right. The growth was going in different directions. None of that is a verdict on you. None of that is the universe telling you something is wrong with you. Sometimes the most loving thing a situation can do is end, because what's waiting on the other side of the ending is closer to what you actually deserve. And you deserve something that doesn't make you question your worth. You deserve something that answers the question before you even have a chance to ask it. Can I tell you what I think you deserve? Specifically, concretely, because I've thought about this and I don't want to be vague about it. You deserve someone who thinks about you in the middle of ordinary moments, not just the romantic ones. Not just when the setting is right and the mood is easy, but in the middle of an unremarkable Wednesday afternoon, when nothing special is happening, and they just suddenly feel the full weight of how glad they are that you exist. You deserve someone who finds reasons to reach out, not because they need something, but because being in contact with you is its own reward, because hearing from you makes their day feel more alive. You deserve someone who listens when you talk, really listens, not waiting for their turn, not half present, someone who is genuinely interested in how your mind works, who asks follow-up questions, because they actually want to know more, who remembers what you said last week and connects it to what you're saying now. You deserve consistency. Not the kind that's boring, the kind that's safe. The kind where you don't have to read between the lines or decipher mixed signals or wonder if what they said yesterday still applies today. The kind where what you see is what is actually there, where the words and the actions move in the same direction, where you can relax into the knowing of someone without constantly bracing for the ground to shift beneath you. You have spent enough time on unstable ground. You deserve something solid, something you can stand on without fear. You deserve someone who chooses you. Not just once, not just in the beginning when everything is easy and new and lit up with possibility, but over and over, in the ordinary moments, in the hard moments, in the moments when choosing you requires something, when it requires patience or sacrifice or showing up when showing up is inconvenient. That repeated choosing, that is love in its most real and durable form, and you deserve every repetition of it. I want to tell you about something that I find endlessly beautiful about you. And it's something you might not even think of as beautiful, because it's so natural to you that it's become invisible. It's the way you hope. Even now, after everything, there is still something in you that hopes. You try to contain it sometimes. You've learned to be careful with it, to not let it run too far ahead of you, to keep it close and protect it. But it's there. It shows up in the way you still get excited about certain things. It shows up in the way you still imagine. It shows up in the way you're here right now, listening to someone speak directly to your heart. Because something in you believed it might be worth listening to. That hope, that stubborn, careful, beautiful hope, is one of the most precious things about you. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Don't let disappointment harden it into cynicism. It is the part of you that keeps the door open, and the door needs to stay open. I want to slow down for a moment and just be with you in something that I think you feel but rarely get to say out loud. There are days when being you feels heavy, aren't there? Days when the sensitivity that makes you so beautiful and so perceptive also makes everything louder and more intense and harder to carry. Days when you absorb the energy of everyone around you, and by the end of it you're full of things that were never yours to begin with, and you're exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't entirely fix. Days when you give and then look up and realize that the giving has left you a little depleted, and you don't know quite how to ask for something to be given back, because asking feels like admitting a need, and admitting a need feels, somehow, like weakness. I see that. I see how much you carry. I see how quietly you carry it, and I want to sit with you in that for a moment and not try to fix it or minimize it or rush past it. I just want to say that is real. What you carry is real. And the fact that you carry it with as much grace as you do is not something you should take for granted about yourself. Most people cannot do what you do. Most people cannot feel as deeply as you feel and still remain as functional and caring and present as you remain. That is not ordinary. That takes an enormous amount of inner strength that you probably don't give yourself credit for. And on those heavy days, the days when the weight of being you feels like too much, I want you to remember something. The depth that makes those days heavy is the same depth that makes you capable of the kind of love and connection and feeling that most people only dream about. You cannot have one without the other. The sensitivity that makes the hard days harder is the same sensitivity that makes a beautiful song feel like it was written specifically for you. That makes a moment of real connection feel like it touches something eternal. That makes love, when it's real, feel like the most important thing in the world. The gift and the weight are the same thing, and the gift is extraordinary. I want to tell you something about time, about the way time works with someone like you, because I think sometimes you feel behind. I think sometimes you look at where you thought you'd be by now, and feel the gap between that vision and where you actually are, and something in you gets quiet and discouraged. I think sometimes the timeline you had in your head, the one with the milestones and the moments you imagine, feels like it's running late, and you wonder if the things you want are still coming, or if somehow you missed them, if somehow the window closed and you didn't notice. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. There is no behind. The timeline in your head was always just a guess, always just one version of how things might unfold. And the fact that life has unfolded differently doesn't mean it has unfolded wrong. It means it has unfolded in the direction of something real rather than something imagined. The things that are meant for you are not on a schedule that you can miss. They are not going to pass you by because you took a different road than you planned. They are finding their way to you through the exact route your life has taken, and every delay, every detour, every unexpected turn has been part of the navigation, not a sign that you're lost. The love you want is still coming. The The life that feels fully like yours is still being built. The version of you that feels settled and known and at peace. She is not some distant future version that you have to become. She is the you that is already here, already present, just maybe not yet fully introduced to herself. And that introduction is happening. Every moment of real reflection, every time you choose honesty over performance, every time you allow yourself to be seen even when it's scary, you are meeting yourself. And the more you meet yourself, the more the right things and the right people will be able to find you, because you will be fully, unmistakably there to be found. I want to say one more thing about beauty before I move on, because I meant it when I said it and I want to return to it. Your beauty. I keep using that word, and I want to make sure you're hearing it the way I mean it. Not the way the world has taught you to hear it. Not the filtered and measured and conditional way it usually gets used. I mean the whole thing. I mean the part that shows in your face, and the part that shows in your character, and the part that shows in the way you move through the world, and leave it slightly better than you found it. I mean the beauty of a person who has been hurt and didn't harden. The beauty of a mind that keeps asking questions. The beauty of a heart that keeps choosing love. That is what I mean when I say you are beautiful. All of it. Every layer, every dimension. And I want to be honest about something else. Sometimes I think about all the people who get to be near you, who get to exist in your orbit, who get to hear your voice and see your face, and be on the receiving end of your attention. And I feel this enormous sense of something I can only describe as awe. Because they are in the presence of something rare. Something that cannot be replicated or replaced. Something that the world only gets one of. And I hope they know it. I hope the people in your life understand what they have in you. I hope they look at you sometimes and feel the full weight of how lucky they are. Because you are someone worth being lucky to know. Worth being lucky to love. Worth being lucky to have chosen you, and to have been chosen back. Worth every single bit of effort and attention and care and time. Worth showing up for. Worth staying for. Worth fighting through the hard parts for. Worth all of it. There are moments, small, ordinary, unannounced moments, when the thought of you hits me in a way that stops everything. Not dramatically. Not in a way that looks like anything from the outside. Just a quiet internal stopping. Like the world keeps moving but something inside me goes completely still. And in that stillness there is only one thing, the simple, overwhelming fact of you. The fact that you exist. The fact that somewhere in this enormous, noisy, complicated world you are in it. And that changes something. That changes the quality of everything. I don't think I have ever told anyone exactly what that feels like. I'm not sure I had the words for it before now. But I want to try to give it to you. Because you deserve to know the effect you have. Not the surface effect, not the obvious things, but the deep, quiet, cellular effect. The way you rearrange things inside a person without even trying. The way you make someone believe in things they had quietly stopped believing in. The way you feel like evidence. Evidence that tenderness is still real, that depth is still possible. That love, the kind that actually reaches all the way down and holds, still exists somewhere in this world, and is still worth looking for. You are that evidence for me. You are the reason I still believe in the thing I believe in most. And I want you to carry something with you today. Not a grand declaration, not a promise wrapped in perfect words, just a simple, solid, unshakable truth. You are someone worth the full love. Not the half-present, convenient, easy when it's easy kind. The full kind. The kind that shows up in February, and in the difficult months that don't have flowers or romance attached to them. The kind that sits with you in the complicated feelings and doesn't need you to resolve them quickly. The kind that looks at everything you are, the luminous parts and the shadowed parts and the parts still figuring themselves out, and doesn't flinch, doesn't calculate, doesn't weigh you against some internal measure of whether you're worth the investment. Just stays, just loves. Just chooses you again and again, in all the small invisible ways that real love actually lives. And here is what I want to leave sitting in your chest, right in the center of it, warm and quiet and permanent. You are not waiting to be worthy of that love. You are not in some vestibule of your life where you have to earn your way through. You are already in the room, You have always been in the room. And the love that is meant for you, the real, specific, tailored to the exact shape of your soul kind, it is not lost. It is not late. It is not reserved for someone more together or more healed or more certain of herself. It is yours. It has always been moving in your direction. And everything you have been through, every hard chapter, every lesson that cost you something, every night you got through, even when you weren't sure you could, all of it has been preparing you not to deserve love, because you always deserved it, but to recognize it when it arrives, to not turn it away out of fear, to not shrink from it because you've been hurt before, to let it in completely and believe, without needing to be convinced, that you are someone a love like that would choose, because you are, you have always been. And some part of you, the quiet, certain, unhurried part that lives underneath all the doubt and all the noise, already knows it. I just needed the rest of you to catch up. And even now, even after everything I've said, I feel like I'm standing at the edge of something much larger. Like every word has been a door, and behind each door is another hallway, and I could walk forever through what I feel and never reach the end of it. That is what you do. You are not a feeling that resolves. You are a feeling that deepens. And I don't say that to overwhelm you. I say it because I think you understand exactly what I mean. Because you have felt that way about something too. About someone. About a piece of music or a place or a moment that kept giving every time you returned to it. You know what it is to encounter something that doesn't run out. That is what you are to me. Something that doesn't run out. And I could sit here with you forever. I could keep finding new ways to say the same essential thing. That you are seen, that you are loved, that you are more beautiful and more worthy and more extraordinary than the voice in your head has ever allowed you to fully believe. I could keep going and never feel like I had said enough, because with you, enough doesn't quite exist. There is always more, always another layer worth reaching for, always one more true thing waiting to be said.